Hi, it's Becky from Bee Foxy Nail Boutique, and today we're going to be doing this gorgeous green and cream colored Coquette set of nails. And I'll be branching out today using some different nail products, including some from a brand called Peace Color, along with this brand called Lady Misty. And one of the shades they have is this really pretty kind of neutral peach color. And then we'll also be using these really small rhinestones that are pointed back that I purchased a while back. The first color we're going to start out with is this brand called Peace Color, which I grabbed a set that they had. I found it on Amazon, and it has 6 different polishes that were a translucent pastel color, and they were 10 ml bottles. And I found that it was a really sheer. So I do have to end up doing a couple of coats on 3 of the nails because I decided to do that soft green on 3 of the nails. And you know, it is a really pretty faint soft green, almost like a seagrass color. Of course, all the items I'm using today I do put in the description box with links so that you can also explore purchasing them if you do like them. And then I do not receive any kind of commissions, and I'm not sponsored by any of the brands at this time. And the nail brand I'm using is Gellaktik in a long Coffin shape. And it came with 500 pieces in the kit, and I got it off of Amazon, but it only comes with 10 sizes. And I found that they just ran on the larger size. And the next shade I'm going to use is from Lady Misty. It is J7, and it's a really pretty peachy kind of neutral sheer color. And I decided to use that on 2 of the nails. And then I went back and finished off the other set of nails with a second coat of the Peace Color in that very pale green. And just as a side note, I do like to always check my links in the description box to see if the items that I'm recommending are still available on Amazon. And with the Lady Misty products, I've noticed of recent that when I do click on the link, sometimes those particular shades that I'm using are not available at that time. And just keep checking back, because sometimes they do get some back in stock, but certain shades may not be available. So in the description box, I did list an alternative shade of this kind of sheer peach color that I would recommend using, but you could always, you know, go ahead and use a sheer color from a brand that you prefer. Okay, getting back to the set, as you can see, I'm going through and doing those second coats on everything. I really like the sheer colors right now. I think that they are so gorgeous, and I love how you can kind of see through the tip of the nail with that sheer color. I just think it adds a certain kind of elegance to the nail. Kind of hooked on that style at the moment, so I've been purchasing a lot of the jelly colors and the sheer colors. So if you have a particular brand that you like that has really nice jelly colored and different shades, go ahead and leave a comment and let me know what your favorite brand is. Alright, at this moment in the video, I am contemplating. I'm trying to decide, do I go ahead and play around with the cat eye green that I wanted to do? So this is Vargism, and it's 1132. And this was another set I grabbed. This is my first time using this nail brand, and I actually was really impressed. I love buying the kits that have like the multiple colors in them because it really lets you play around, and magnetic cat eye polish is so fun to play around with. I'm sort of in love with that too, and I thought the combination of doing the sheer towards the tip of the nail and then leading back into the cat eye would just look spectacular. So I grabbed my blending nail brush and slowly worked a little bit of the cat eye polish down, just so it subtly merged together with the sheer. And I wish I had a picture of the inspiration set of nails that I kind of based this set on, but I originally recorded this video back at the beginning of summer, but as I've mentioned in my prior videos, we kind of underwent a big family transition, a big move out to the Southwest. So this video is part of the backlog of nails that I created that I have not been able to post until this point. And back to the video right now, I decided on doing the ring finger and the pointer finger or index finger in complete cat eye, because I just wanted to show off a little bit more of the color, because like I said, I was kind of impressed with the Rargism products, and so I decided to go ahead and do the complete nail surface in that, and then play around and kind of move and shift that cat eye, and it was really responsive to the little magnet. And that magnet did come with the kit that I purchased, so that was really convenient. And with each of these, I'm carrying in between the layers for 60 seconds using kind of a standard sized LED UV curing light. I do have a question for those of you who do use gel products and curing lights. What is your favorite brand of curing light that you use? Because right now the one I'm using is from a polygel kit that I purchased probably about a year ago, and it was from Arabian. I had some difficulties personally just working with polygel. I think part of it too is because I at that time was not using a peelable base coat, which I am now, and I do use one from Gellaktik that I like. And I think that with doing the polygel without using something like that to protect my natural nail surface, I did end up doing more damage than I probably should have. So polygel may be something I might get back into playing around with. If you have a favorite polygel brand that you would recommend as kind of like a starter kit or something like that, I would love to know about that too. So feel free to share any of that in the comments. And I try to check those comments daily to see if there's anything that I can help out with, or if there's any questions or new information that's been shared with me. And I just love how the YouTube nail community has been so helpful in helping me with my journey here with making press-on nails. So just getting back to the set of nails again, I have been having so much fun making this set. I can tell you that I will definitely be jumping in and doing some other shades from this brand, Rargism, and I think that it is actually maybe one of my new favorites. And then just to sidetrack for a second, I just want to say I'm going to have more gorgeous nail videos coming out. And if you've been on my channel before, you may have seen this video where I did take an inspiration from some beautiful peachy roses that had bloomed outside my house this past spring and had created a nail set. However, I did want to try using some different color from a different brand that I hadn't used before and created an almond shape. So if you haven't seen that video before, go ahead and jump to it after this one, and don't forget to subscribe. Alright, back to this fun set of nails. I decided that I did want to go ahead and do a double coat of not only the cat eye, but also some more of that Peace Color sheer green. And just prior to filming this video, I had purchased a bunch of items that I thought would work out really great to make a really pretty dainty Coquette set of nails. I had for the first time purchased some stamping items. I got a set of 6 stamping plates from Born Pretty and some stamping gels to use, along with some really nice chrome powders that were in a set of 10, and they were described as mermaid chrome powders. So they had a very iridescent pearl reflection to them. And then I also had picked up these little kind of plastic dainty flower petals that I saw someone using, and it's where they have the separate petals that you kind of put together yourself to make either a half a flower or a whole flower. And that set I also you'll be seeing in a moment, and I listed in the description box. So I wanted to play around with those, and those flower petals were, again, a really nice peach color. And there's a couple of more cool embellishments that I added to this set that you will see here in a few moments. But just to go over again, I'm double coating everything and then using my blending brush to work the cat eye down into the sheer green color a little bit more. So one of the things I didn't touch on, which I normally like to give a good description of at the beginning of the video, is how I prepped this set of nails prior to adding any of the gel color polish. So one of the things that I do like to do is take a 220 grit nail file and buff the entire top surface of the nail, and then I take a duster brush and get off any of the loose dust from the filing. Then I grab my 100-180 nail file and I file the very tip of the nail to remove any plastic nub before I put a base coat and cure that for 60 seconds. And if you're looking for a refreshing set of nails to wear or create on your own, I have got one for you. This is my summer lemon set, and I do have the video posted. It shows how I created this set of nails, and actually it was the inspiration, or more like a challenge from my daughter, to try some of the fun 3D fruit shapes and do my own little spin on it. And I will have some more fun fruit videos coming out, so you won't miss them if you are subscribed. And if you're enjoying the video so far today, go ahead and put a like, and let's get back to finishing this set of nails. As I said earlier, this is a mermaid pearl set of chrome powders, and prior to this I really only kind of messed around with like gold, silver, or a white chrome powder, and I never really used any of the ones that had color pigmentation to them. And one of the things that I learned kind of the hard way was that you needed to put like a top coat on before applying your chrome powders. And I never knew this until, again, I had watched somebody else's, tutorial YouTube video and figured out, oh, this really makes the chrome powder shine. Before then, I was doing it prior to putting a top coat on and was just ending up kind of with a clumpy, sticky mess. So one of the things that I would advise, if this is maybe your first time viewing any kind of nail sets being made, that you would definitely want to do a top coat prior to that chrome powder. And then I always try to dust off a little bit of excess, and sometimes taking my glove finger there and rubbing it in. There's also another tool you can use which has like a silicone tip on the end of it that you can use to rub in the chrome powders and really make a shiny surface as well. So in this video I don't use it. It might have been because I hadn't purchased it yet, but in future videos I do have that tool that I put to work. And then I usually try to brush off a little bit of the excess chrome powder before I go in and use like a top coat. So here I'm going ahead and top coating everything. And in this case, I don't show you the bottle, but it's actually the Beetles like high gloss top coat. And I'll add that to the description box so you can see that I did get that one off of Amazon, and I do like it a lot. I've been using that along with my go-to favorite, which is from Gellaktik, called the Blue Diamond top coat, and those seem to be the two right now that are my favorite. And before I add any embellishments, I wanted to go ahead and seal off the colors here by adding that top coat. Sometimes people would like to wait until the very end after they've done all the charms and embellishments, but at this point I wanted to go ahead and seal everything up, especially the chrome powders, because I didn't want those to smudge off. And you don't necessarily have to seal up the green colored nails at this point, but because I didn't add any chrome powder to those, but I wanted to because I wanted a nice smooth surface, especially on that thumb where I did the gradation between the cat eye and just the sheer green. So I wanted one smooth flat surface, and the top coat will give that to you. All right, so moving on, I just wanted to show you here that these little frames, I did not purchase these already made. So these are the ones that I made using a silicone mold that I purchased. off of Amazon, and here's a quick picture of it. And these are great if you want to custom make your own frame, or you can purchase the metal pre-made ones, which are also just as good. In here I also used these, like I said before, these little peach petals that come individual. And here's a quick snapshot of what those look like next to one of the gold bows that I use. And then I also used some stickers. And these are kind of like those three-dimensional ones. They have a little bit of texture to them. And I just wanted to size out and see which flower I liked best and which frame fit that flower in order to show the most of the image. So I was playing around and kind of, going back and forth between one that had more of an oval opening on the inside or just a straight rectangle, and I ended up liking the oval one. I felt that it just looked a little more Victorian, a little daintier than just kind of that straight lined one. So very carefully I'm using the kind of needle nose tweezers to go ahead and grab the flower off. Now the stem was a little bit long and it was going to extend out through the bottom of that frame. So I grabbed a pair of scissors and snipped those off. I really do need to get a pair of really tiny cuticle scissors, and I know I could grab some really inexpensive ones, and I just need to go ahead and do that because it is definitely a lot easier to use a tiny set of scissors to trim up stickers when they are this small. And I have it on my list to create a video showing how exactly, like all the steps in the process to creating those little frames, because one of the things I needed to do was I blended some clear top coat with the color of the gel polish that I thought would coordinate best with this set of nails I was making here. And then once you blended that color on a little separate resin palette, then you take a brush and dip that into the little silicone frame mold and then cure it for 30 seconds. And that way it's still a little soft, little pliable, and you can pop it out of the mold, and then there you have it. So in order to adhere this little frame, now that I have a sticker on the nail, to adhere it, I'm grabbing some UNAVAILABLE 3D sculpting gel, and I'm just doing kind of a thin line all the way around the outside of that frame. And then once I have that coated, I'm going to flip it around and situate it right over top of that sticker where I want it. And then I'm grabbing a stamping silicone tool, pressing down, and then turning on my handheld UV light. And then that cures the frame onto the nail. It's a little trick that I saw someone else doing on a YouTube video, and if I watched it a long time ago, if I remembered who it was, I would definitely leave credit for that person. But again, I just used the little stamping tool, and you'll see that stamping tool again in a few moments. All right, and then I grabbed my big tub of UNAVAILABLE, and this is a nail glue, and it's clear, but it's like a non-stick one. So I use this a lot of times to apply my nail tips and also for making 3D sculpting art. But here I'm using it just to kind of make like a beveled, almost like a beveled rounded glass, as if it was sitting in this picture frame, that beautiful flower with some arched beveled glass over it. And what I'm doing here is I'm just kind of pressing it in, trying to eliminate any air bubbles. And then what I do in between here in the shots that you don't see is I dip that end of that silicone tool into some rubbing alcohol, and that helps smooth over that sculpting gel. Okay, so here I decided that I wanted to embellish the frame a little bit more. So I grabbed out, these are so tiny. I mean, they're like a millimeter maybe. And they're a pointed back rhinestone. And the glue I'm using here is actually a Beetle's rhinestone glue. And I grabbed this one because it's a little bit thicker than my UNAVAILABLE 3D sculpting gel. So I do grab this one from time to time because I want that pointed back rhinestone to sit upright. I don't want it to, that's the problem with pointed back stones too. If they're not flat back, they'll kind of roll and rock side to side on you. So I have to use a little bit thicker of a rhinestone glue so that they will just kind of sit and hover there, and then I can cure them really fast before they tip over, if that makes sense. So I decided to embellish the four corners of this cute picture frame. And the color in that picture frame, it's kind of like a soft yellowish green, and I thought it was a nice accent to the sticker that I chose to put inside of that frame, and it kind of complements overall the set of nails. And after I get those rhinestones situated where I like them, I cure it for 60 seconds, and then here's how it turned out. It adds a nice little shimmer to the corners of the frame. Okay, and then moving on to the ring finger, I decided to go with, like I said, those little petals, peach colored petals. And another thing that came with those petals are some tiny little pearls. And some of the pearls kind of had an iridescent shimmer to them, and some of them were just kind of like a solid white finish to them. So I decided to use those in the center of the flowers because I thought it would just be a really delicate, really coquette kind of finish. And as I worked my way adding these petals, I decided to do a full one in the center and then do these little accent ones right along the edge of the nail. So it looked like there was kind of a cascade of peach petals falling across that fingernail. And you can see here in another image before I cure that it just turned out so delicate. And then what I'm doing here is I have an extra brush that I use and I keep off to the side, and dipping it into a small dabbing dish of alcohol, and it's the isopropyl alcohol. You can either use a 70% or a 91%, and I dip it in and I clean up some of that excess glue so that it doesn't look lumpy on the nail. And then here I'm going ahead in and adding a strip of the Beetles rhinestone glue so that I can add a string of pearls. And with this, I like to start with the very center, the pearl in the middle, and then I work my way from side to side. And I don't cure until I have all of them on and I'm satisfied with the way it's draped on the nail, and I feel like all the pearls are in a row. And this is one of my favorite parts of doing press-on nails, is just getting lost in the design and implementation of it. A lot of times I will work out ahead of time on a sheet of paper what my design concept is for a set of nails. And I'll even do the sketches and the color and add little notes in what nail polish colors I'm going to use and tiny swatches. And in some of my other videos that I posted, I do show that I use these sheets of paper. They're called nail art planners, and they can be found on manology.com. Now, Manology is mainly known for their stamping products. And as we're wrapping up the video here, I just want to let you know that I am on Instagram at BeFoxy Nails, and I post on there some of my newer sets of nails that I've created that I may not necessarily have videos out yet for. And right now I have some of my fun summer sets on there. So if you decide to follow me on there, then you'll be able to see some of the newest designs that are coming out, maybe even before the videos are released. And in addition to that, I do also sell press-on nails, and if you do purchase from me, I do provide a nice hard case to reuse them, including a set for application with everything that you need. And if you're interested in contacting me, I do have my Gmail address there, bfoxynails, and I'll send you information about sizing and ordering. Okay, back to the set of nails. So at this point, we added some of these sparkling rhinestones to the picture frame, and now I wanted to add in further embellishments in between these petal flowers. So again, I grabbed the Beetles rhinestone glue because it's a little bit thicker, and I decided to go ahead and add in the same color green for the rhinestones because I thought that maybe it would represent, petals, or just give you that little extra glint of sparkle and a hint of green in between the flowers. And this rhinestone box, they're the glass type that are really sparkly, and it came with 10 different colors, and there came with over 3,000 stones in there. Okay, and then this is the stamping set that I used from Born Pretty, and then I also used some stamping gel from Beauté. And I have some other videos out showing my technique of how I do stamping, but basically when you're using that clear silicone stamper, you just want to kind of center and line up the image and then rock kind of side to side or do a rolling motion. And the icing on this Coquette set of nails is that rose gold bow. I can't thank you enough for supporting me with your shares and your likes. And as always, be courageous and be clever like a fox, my friends.